Hello and welcome to MAQS and Vibes. In this session, we'll be covering advanced debugging. So with the release of MAQS 6, you now have much greater capabilities when it comes to debugging your MAQS-based tests. And the main reason for this is we have included SourceLink. So SourceLink, if you are not familiar with it, it's a technology that allows you to kind of get the code for your packages. So if you think about how you would have to debug debug an open source package in the past, let's say you're using Max and something's going wrong underneath the hood and you don't know what. So you have a couple of options. One, you can kind of dig through the stack trace and kind of try to figure it out. Um, that will work. You could also pull down the Mac source code, add it to your project, and then you have all the code there, and you can debug that way. But then, of course, did I get the right version of the code? And do I have all the dependencies? Now I have to worry about all the build issues related to that, and I probably don't want to keep it in with my code because then I have to maintain my own version of Max, and it just becomes a huge pain. But SourceLink takes care of this, and the way that it does this is actually rather inventive. Uh, it allows .NET to actually pull down the pieces that it needs dynamically while you're debugging. And it sounds a little like magic, and it kind of is. So let's jump into it and see what that looks like. So if we look here, we have a Max project. This is just built off the template. And you'll see I really haven't changed anything here. We have our base web service. And let's just debug a web service test here. We had that base URL, and that's a path for the API. Okay, so we're getting product one, we're getting that back as a product XML. Expect to get that ID. So now let's say that we want to debug this. So in the past, if I was debugging something like this, uh, I'd have relatively few options. You'll note that a bunch of stuff is happening down here. That's SourceLink kind of doing its thing. So now I have Git, and this is where the magic happens. So now I'm actually in Max itself. So we have a template, and this is all the template code. You'll see there's no web service driver. There's no such thing in here. This is actually getting pulled directly from GitHub, and it's getting pulled from the point in time when the NuGet package was created. So it perfectly matches up. So you see I'm in the Max code now. I can go further down. I can now go into different files, so it follows it down. And this will actually work beyond just Max. This will work in pretty much any other package that has SourceLink enabled. But now I don't have to pull down Max. I don't have to pull down any of the library. I can let Visual Studio or VS Code do this for me. And then when I'm done with the debugging, I can just let it go. And yeah, my test finished. In this case, it passed. Everything's good. Uh, really, really slick capability here. So that brings us to, well, how do I actually set this thing up? So MAX 6 will just do this for you, provided you tell Visual Studio or VS Code how to do this. So we're going to go through VS Code because it's a little bit more complex. You basically have to set the same settings in Visual Studio in order to get this. But that has like searches and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do the hard one here. So first, we will go to our C# extension, and we want to manage it, and we want to manage the settings. And the setting that we actually care about is our unit test debug options. Click in here. And this is kind of where the magic is. First thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that just my code is set to false. Obviously, you wouldn't go into third-party code if you had that set to true. We made sure that SourceLink is enabled. You can actually filter down in SourceLink. Let's say that I only care about one package. You can actually refine this. For this, I just have it turned on for everything. Beware, there is kind of a performance hit for that. And then we are pulling our symbols packages. I am taking pretty much all symbols packages, and I'm specifically looking at NuGet.org. You can look in different locations if you'd like. The reason we're using NuGet.org is because we know that's where Max lives. If you also want to look into some of the uh, Microsoft specific symbols, you could turn that on as well. But that's basically it. You make sure that these are set, and now you can start doing some really, really low level debugging in your MAQS tests. And I hope that has been helpful. And with that, thank you.